Okay, just watched another Corey Anton video. This one was Magic Sandwich on Presuppositionalism, parentheses on psi and concordance. Uh, I can't see what date it is, hang on. And published April 20th, 2012. At any rate, it brought up some interesting thoughts to me. There seems to be a situation that some people might like to argue from in terms of logic and math, and they are superimposed, I think, onto what they take to be reality. And then there's a problem with the view, the idea, the awareness that things are always changing, and then all of that gets thrown into some sort of a large pot or a kettle where, since there is logical stuff and changing stuff, and God has to be logical or God doesn't have to be logical, and, and then the fur starts to fly. So what occurred to me was how math and logic, as they are differentiated out of human experience, there is tools, and so they're not in their refined form found in nature. Like a hammer, people might have been able to pick up a rock or a branch and use it as a hammer, but there were no hammers and nails as we find them now. And similarly, we find math and logic very, very refined, very, very technical tools that are used to tease things out of experience. To suppose that God doesn't play dice with the universe kind of supposes that the universe is actually mathematical and logical. I might want to suggest that it isn't. That with a calculus there can be an approach to how things appear regularly, and they can be defined and refined to an ever greater, finer point, down to the quantum level, at which point things are not so determined. So then another tool, probability, is invented, and that works very well. And another model, a sort of a computational digital model, where there's a flicker rate of consciousness, or a flicker rate of reality, wherein God could actually stop the show. Just as a video game, it's going along frame by frame, it's possible to stop it and change a whole bunch of stuff around and then start it again, and it proceeds logically as if nothing happened. And yet, behind the scenes, the programmer, the end user outside of the game, is able to re-equip an avatar or stop the sun in midday for a duration to change the rules and then change them back. And if that's how God wants to play, assuming God exists, then that's just the way it is. I don't think reality has to conform to the math and science and logic of people. It's the other way around. As in Corey's talk, he talked about I think concordance, and how concordance had flipped this thing around and said it's this way, it's not this other way. And Corey stopped and said, wait a minute, there could be a lot of ways, and all the ways as maps might fall short. So no matter how accurate the map, how great the theory of everything, there might always necessarily need to be something missing. Sort of like an Ouroboros, that's how you say it, the cosmic snake eating its tail, except it's inside out. That, like Watts talks about, the teeth can't bite themselves, the finger can't point at itself. The map can't describe itself, almost like I forget the name of the guy, mathematician that figured out that a system can't get out of itself, that sort of a thing. So there could be a God, there could be gods. Science might not be able to catch God's tail. Corey ends the video saying something about riding a whale and trying to catch minnows. In a way, science might find itself in that same sort of predicament. Kind of like avatars in a video game playing in a sandbox. And the end users and the programmers were saying, let us create these images and beings after a likeness of ourselves. And let us put ourselves into ourselves. And let's see if our machines, if we can relate more to our machines that are created by us than we can to some other realm out of which we ourselves grew. So it leads me back to sort of a Hindu view where you've got the Trinity growing out of Brahman. And then there are all kinds of Indras marching across the floor as ants. Yeah, fun stuff to ponder. Much ado about making a stew and a word salad sandwich.